Hello and welcome to Football 263. The world was shocked when Lionel Messi finally came out and admitted that his biggest dream was to become the best father in the world rather than winning the Champions League or the World Cup. Messi's kids had betrayed their father and committed the ultimate crime, and when Leo learned about it he was devastated. Leo didn't want anyone else to know, so he kept it a secret. He devised a strategy since he was aware that it would not be simple, but as a little child, he realized that the first step would be the most difficult. Leo watched his parents love and wanted that for himself, so he went next door and got his own woman. However, he was unaware that danger was lurking around the corner because just when he thought he'd met the ideal female, problems appeared. The Antonella Roccuzzo catastrophe occurred. When Leo received the news that Antonella and her best friend had been in a freak accident and her friend had died at the scene, Antonella was devastated. When Messi heard the news, he only had one thought, so he packed his bags and immediately flew to Argentina to be with Antonella. When he was about to depart for Barca, he turned around and proposed, saying, "Follow me back to Spain and come live with me," knowing that if he left her there alone, she would be thinking about it all day and never get over it. Leo was pleading with her to travel to a foreign nation with him, leaving everyone behind. Messi had phase 1 of his master plan in the bag, but it was only the beginning because even though he's very popular, step 2 of his plan ruined his life and exposed him to the entire universe. Antonella accepted because she thought Leo would be able to protect and care for her. Leo likes to live a simple, peaceful life, but when people learned that he now shares a home with Antonella, the media went crazy, and pretty soon he was making headlines. Leo and Antonella made the decision to maintain a low profile and hide their lives from the press, but he had people watching his every move and action. On the day Leo gave the secret signal, they figured it out, and Messi's cover was blown. In this particular game, after he scored and hit the celebration, his fans realized what was happening and they went crazy. The time had finally come for Messi to have a child, and Leo had eyes on him from everywhere. To avoid disappointing his unborn kid, he improved both on and off the field. He committed himself to becoming the best father possible, and on November 2, 2012, when he heard the cry, it was the biggest night of his life because he knew phase 3 had begun. Leo's life altered when Thiago joined him. He changed into a different person. Antonella was no longer the only person in it. With Thiago in the picture, Leo was feeling especially proud at the time, and Thiago was probably getting tired of Leo trying to explain who Donatello from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is. So on September 11, 2015, 3 years after Thiago was born, the Messi family achieved Mateo's ranking of number 4 and a record-breaking 5th Ballon d'Or. Leo was having a great year, but he wasn't done with kids, so in 2018, while most ballers were focusing on the World Cup, Messi was preparing for something else. In March, he finished phase 3, which involved getting Ciro's name tattooed on his body, along with the names of the other kids. Now that he had his ideal family, Leo committed his life to making sure he was there for them at every stage. Leo loves his children, but when they misbehave and disobey him, he transforms into someone so terrifying that they are unable to even look at him. Still, he is only trying to raise them properly, as any good parent should, so hats off to him. He constantly reminds them to remain humble, work hard, and be grateful for the life they have, and then he enters flashback mode because his career was nearly over before it even got started. Leo had a difficult upbringing because his family wasn't particularly wealthy, and he only knew how to play one sport. However, as soon as his parents realized they couldn't keep him away from the ball, they had no choice but to enroll him in a program, which is when they realized Messi's life was in danger. Leo joined Newell's Old Boys, and after a few months it was obvious that this young man had the future. But just as his football career was taking off, he received devastating news that not only was his entire life about to end, but also that he had growth hormone syndrome, which is why he had grown so much since the time the photo was taken, when he was only 4'4". All hope seemed lost until the doctors offered a lifeline. There is a treatment for growth hormone syndrome, but the injections required for it cost between 1 and 5,000 euros just for one. Leo's family was barely scraping by, so they lacked this kind of cash. When the other clubs interested in Leo heard about this, it was socially awkward. Leo went bro and became the GOAT, and his kids understand it too that their dad owes it all to Barca, so when they can kick the ball there was only one place Leo was taking them to, even though Thiago is the older one. It's Mateo who plays like his dad, and the coaches at La Mesa were already pumping him up. Everything was going great until 2021. However, Leo wasn't just thinking about himself. He didn't know how he'd break the news to his family because he and Antonella had done it before, but Thiago Messi was there to help. When the unthinkable happened and the Messi family were left homeless after a crazy mix-up with Barca's finances in 2021, they couldn't afford to pay Leo's wages, so as insane as this may sound, Leo became a free agent. Leo wasn't just thinking about himself, though. He and Antonella had done it before, but Thiago, Messi, and Ciro in Barca was the only place they had ever known. But it was only for a few days before PSG came along and struck a deal with Leo, and he was on the move to Paris. Leo had no choice but to tell the French media about his children's reaction to the decision, and it was as though he had dropped a bomb on them. Thiago, who was more reserved, preferred to keep everything to himself and kept quiet. He took it all in and was extremely silent following Mateo, who sobbed heavily. Ciro must have felt awful because he was so young and uninformed about what was happening, but they're fitting in now and Leo spends most of his time with them nonetheless. On Antonella's social media, there are a ton of clips of him and the boys, even his dog, playing together. Leo's kids are special, but when it comes to Mateo, that's when it gets interesting. See, Mateo loves to pull pranks on his dad, like making fun of him about Valencia defeating him in the Copa del Rey final or Liverpool's return in 2019, but those are just kid things. When Leo found out about his kid's biggest secret after keeping it a secret for a couple of months, it was eating him up inside, so when he let it all out about who his kid's favorite idol was, it blew up everywhere. Leo returned one evening from training and he inquired about his children's favorite footballer was today. You'd unquestionably say their dad, so when his name was called, Mateo had other plans. Thrown at his father, Leo gasped in shock, "That disc is the ultimate disc." Leo has been keeping his followers in the dark these days. The guy his children adore, CR7. Mateo even impersonates him in order to annoy him, yet Leo still cares for his children. Leo's children adore him as well, and they've always been there for him to cheer him up when he's won or lost games. When Messi finally won the World Cup, they were by his side representing their father. That's the kind of action we pay to see. I wonder what would have happened if their idol Ronaldo had won. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Football 263. See you in the next video.